Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Multiple ex-WWE stars debut for Impact Wrestling. Several major title changes take place, and I'm still legit scared of Ken Shamrock. I'm Ollie Davis. Please give us a subscribe to get daily wrestling news videos on your homepage, like right now with my review of Impact Wrestling's Slammiversary 2020. In about 10 minutes. The unofficial tagline for this show appears to be, "I can't believe it's 2020 and I just bought an Impact pay-per-view," as so many people ended up watching thanks to an excellent marketing campaign, not by using targeted advertising or viral clips, but through a medium every wrestling fan can understand. Teasing released WWE stars showing up and shoot interviews. Because, geniusly, the pay-per-view go-home angle didn't come on Tuesday's TV episode, it came on Slammiversary Eve, with Gallows and Anderson announcing they'd signed with Impact in a shoot podcast, which everyone kind of knew anyway. So to make sure it got loads of coverage, they called Paul Heyman a liar and alleged it was him who got them fired from WWE. All of a sudden, after struggling to do so since AEW partly launched with All In August 2018, Impact was relevant again. And Don Callis and Scott D'Amore made the most of the opportunity, designing a show to hook in both lapsed and new TNA Impact fans back into the weekly product. Because while this wasn't a full-on hard reset, it sure was a semi. As in addition to several released WWE wrestlers joining their roster, it capped off 2 months of big-name departures, seeing top stars Tessa Blanchard being let go while still the world champion, and names like Joey Ryan, Michael Elgin, and David Christ being either fired or suspended in the wake of speaking out allegations. Slammiversary opened on a mock news report recapping the Good Brothers signing with Impact Wrestling, and then teasing they wouldn't be the only surprises. Oddly cutting back to 2 creepy kids in hoodies talking about being scared. Heath Slater has kids, I guess, but CM Punk sometimes wears a hoodie. CM Punk returned to TNA, but before any new WWE guys, we got some very welcome old TNA guys, with the opening match seeing the Rascals Open Challenge, answered by the Motor City Machine Guns. Look, that's where they're from. My hand. Despite Alex Shelley retiring from pro wrestling in 2018 and Chris Sabin only wrestling as a producer backstage for Impact for the last year, the two didn't miss a beat, playing their greatest hits and even picking up the win. My only criticism here though, and for the whole show in fact, is that the atmosphere missed having wrestlers and crew at ringside, especially for certain returns and spots. I don't know if this had to be in place because of the building's restrictions, but it felt very early TNA lockdown, that joke is even more apt here, rather than the much better way of filling the crowd WWE and AEW have adopted in the last 2 months. Using another familiar name to hook in casual fans, ECW original Tommy Dreamer fought Moose next for the unsanctioned World Heavyweight title. And because it's Dreamer, you better believe there's going to be trash cans, steel chairs, kendo sticks, and even thumbtacks right from the start. The latter of which saw Moose try to shove Dreamer's eyes into. How dare you, Moose? That's WWE's stipulation that they, and they alone, came up with. Moose hit a spear to retain, and everyone kept their eyeballs in their respective sockets. Next up saw Gauntlet for the Gold. A match where 2 people start, with a new wrestler entering at regular intervals, and people can be eliminated by getting thrown over the top rope. Sound familiar? Well then you're wrong, because the final 2 is decided by pinfall. Hey, of all TNA's versions of the Royal Rumble, this one's incredible. The match was almost entirely entrances, with 14 wrestlers coming down in just 20 minutes, although 2 of those entrants was Johnny Bravo dressed as Taya Valkyrie or Rosemary for some lame comedy. Because this match was never meant to focus on the wrestling, which was really just a sequence of spots, it was for Impact to show off their incredibly deep women's roster. Kimber Lee, Kiera Hogan, Sue Young, Madison Rayne, Havoc, Taya, Rosemary, and eventual winner Kylie Ray, all just fighting for the #1 contenders spot. It shows that yes, you can create an excellent women's division even in lockdown. What's Sleeth Hater doing in the Impact Zone? While Don Callis and Josh Matthews were doing their next commentary link, a ripped ginger man then hopped the barricade to cut an in-ring promo. Slater wanted to be in the main event, but settled for beating up Rohit Raju instead. Sadly, there were a few audio issues, with the sound seemingly coming through the PA system rather than a direct audio feed, rather undermining Slater's debut. Heath later reunited with Rhino backstage, but was told to leave by Scott D'Amore with all his boring coronavirus safety procedures. Rhino teased he'll get Slater on Tuesday's episode. Willie Mack then defended his X Division title against Chris Bay in a really fast-paced, innovative match. Mack is incredibly compelling to watch, his body shape clashing with the X Division style he wrestles. Like his excellent cutter as Bay was draped off the apron, or a fall-away slam, kip-up, moonsault sequence immediately after. But it was Bay who came out with the X Division title after distracting the referee. While the in-ring wrestling was good for the first half of the show, the second significantly leveled up with the 3 major title matches. First up with year-plus-long tag team champions The North, defending against the insane double act of Sami Callihan and Ken Shamrock as the world's dangerous tag team. Insane as in both, oh my god, they're going to kill someone, and oh my god, they're going to kill each other. But they worked really well together initially, with Matthews describing them as Superman and Lex Luger, wrestling joke, joining forces to take on a greater threat. The drama peaked in a great dual ankle lock spot put on by Shamrock and Alexander, while Sami and Ethan started slapping each other in the face on the ground. But then the match turned rather clunky as Shamrock appeared to break. Ken sold Callihan accidentally breaking up his ankle lock as just walking around confused, while everyone else continued to intensely wrestle. Further miscommunication followed and the North won. This will presumably build to Callihan versus Shamrock, but I'd like to see them as a tag team a little while longer. The Motor City Machine Guns then made a tag title match against the North for Tuesday's episode, while the Gauntlet for the match showcased the depth of Impact's women's division. The title match between Jordynne Grace and Deonna Purrazzo showed its class. In arguably the match of the night, Purrazzo repeatedly worked over Grace's left arm to set her up for the double armbar submission finish in a terrifically told story of power versus technique. Both wrestlers were excellent, which I always knew about Grace, but I had no idea Purrazzo was so good, and I can't wait to see her versus Kylie Ray as the next title feud. 2 wrestlers AEW could have had. And the main event saw Eddie Edwards versus Ace Austin versus Trey Miguel versus multi-time WWE champion and future Hall of Famer vacant, who was revealed to be former WWE star Rich Swann, who was already with Impact, but was just returning from injury. I guess he's kind of an ex-WWE star? For a moment, it was a flashback to all those frustrating TNA moments from the past. He might have well as brought out Bram having signed a new multi-year deal. But Callis and D'Amore are smarter than us. They know their booking. This was all to work us, because there was one more surprise left. A returning Eric Young, thankfully in full-on psychotic mode, rather than comedy superhero gimmick, to make it a 5-way elimination match. Watching EY wrestle again, which we've been robbed of for years since his call-up from NXT, was borderline cathartic, as all 5 men had a terrifically fast-paced match. One of the most welcome surprises, though, was that I found myself most into the feud between Austin and Trey, 2 guys I don't know a lot about, but got over through their intense hatred of each other, a very promising sign for building homegrown stars. But a busted open Young pile drove Trey to eliminate him, and then get eliminated himself by Swann in a shock roll-up, causing EY to snap and Pillmanize Swann's previously injured knee. Ace then dispatched Swann, bringing it down to the year-long foes of him versus Eddie Edwards, who eventually won to become the Impact World Champion for the 2nd time in his career. Austin and his absolutely enormous stooge Fulton attacked Eddie afterwards, which finally brought out the Good Brothers Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, somehow completely erasing 4 years of bad WWE booking with just 24 hours of shoot podcasts and Impact returns. They felt like a genuinely big deal, teasing aligning with Austin before going babyface and saving Eddie, celebrating with beer skis as the show went off air. But the big reveals weren't done there, as the last image showed EC3 throwing a glass at a wall in a vignette. Ethan Carter III is back in TNA. And I smell trouble. Trouble, 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 trouble. Trouble, 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 trouble. Trouble. But what were the 2 kids about at the start? That was Slammiversary 2020 in about 10 minutes. What did you think of the show? Let me know in the comments down below, where I'll be replying from out of the bit of Motor City Machine Gun's hands that they always point to. It's meant to mean Detroit. I don't Does it look like Detroit? This was a hugely enjoyable show, which reminded me of the good parts of why I was such a die-hard TNA fan in the noughties and early teens. While it wasn't the shocks of Jeff Hardy and Ric Flair from their infamous January 4th, 2010 relaunch, this actually provided more coherent substance. And for the first time since the Callahan, Pentagon and LAX run in 2018, I'm really excited about Impact again. Slammiversary 2020 was 4 out of 5. I'll leave the last word, however, to WrestleTalk's patron saint, Wale. WWE fans be beefing with AEW fans and vice versa, but everybody been showing Impact love today. Wrestling Twitter is amazing. Adam Blompier has fantasy booked Dean Ambrose's heel turn in WWE. Click the video on the right to watch him make it so much better. And find out more on Gallows and Anderson's Shoot podcast, where they revealed how angry AJ Styles was with WWE back in March by clicking the video below that. Give us a subscribe to get daily wrestling news videos right on your homepage. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was wrestling.